All right. So you're thinking about becoming an au pair. That's awesome.
It's such a cool opportunity to live abroad and experience a new culture.
Yeah, it's like travel meets childcare. And speaking of childcare, we're diving deep into au pair interview prep today.
We'll be using RoleCatcher's guides, which are packed with tips from real au pairs.
Plus, we'll even touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can help you stand out from the crowd.
I think what's really interesting about this role is that you're not just working for a family, you're actually living with them.
Oh, that's right. You're basically becoming a part of their daily lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's important to really understand what you're getting into.
Well, luckily, RoleCatcher has a ton of resources to help us out. Like they have this whole job board where you can find au pair positions.
And don't forget about their library of common interview questions. That's super helpful.
Oh, yeah, and they even have an AI-powered resume builder.
Yeah, that AI stuff is pretty amazing, especially in today's job market where automation plays such a big role.
So it's like having a personal career coach helping you tailor your resume to each specific family.
Pretty much.
And I think they have a free version to get you started, right?
Yeah, the free version is great for browsing the job board and getting some basic feedback.
But if you really want to unlock the full potential of the AI, they have this Copilot subscription.
Right. It's like having a co-pilot for your entire career journey.
Hold on, what exactly does Copilot subscription even mean? Like, what's the difference?
Good question. The Copilot subscription gives you access to some really advanced features, like personalized interview questions, in-depth resume analysis, and even AI-powered video practice tools.
Wow. So you can actually practice your interview answers and get personalized feedback.
Exactly. It's like having a mock interview, but with AI.
Okay, that's really cool. But before we jump into the interview questions, let's take a step back and just define what an au pair actually does.
Right. What they do and definition sections in RoleCatcher's guide are perfect for this.
So basically, an au pair provides childcare, right?
Yeah, which includes things like playing with the kids, helping with homework, preparing meals, really just making sure they're safe and happy.
So it's more than just babysitting.
Definitely. You're also responsible for some light housekeeping tasks.
Like laundry, tidying up, maybe running a few errands.
Exactly. And of course, a big part of being an au pair is the cultural exchange.
Oh yeah, sharing your culture with the family and learning about theirs.
It's a pretty unique experience.
But it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher mentions some downsides too.
Yeah, there are definitely some challenges. Homesickness can be a big one.
And maybe the career path isn't as clear-cut as some other jobs.
Right.
So I guess it's important to weigh those pros and cons and decide if it's really the right fit for you. Like, which aspects resonate most with you?
Absolutely. It's a big decision.
Okay. Are you ready to tackle some interview questions?
Let's do it. I'm excited to see what RoleCatcher has come up with.
All right, the first question is, can you tell us about your previous experience as an au pair? How would you approach this one?
This is your chance to really shine. Talk about your past experiences, but focus on the responsibilities and accomplishments that are most relevant to this specific role.
So, like, did you plan any educational activities or help the kids with a particular subject?
Exactly. Anything that demonstrates your skills and passion for working with children.
And what if you haven't actually been an au pair before?
No problem. You can still talk about other relevant experiences like babysitting, volunteering at a daycare, even caring for younger siblings.
Oh, that's good to know. So it's all about showing how your past experiences, even if they're not directly related to being an au pair, have prepared you for this role.
Exactly. Now, be ready for a follow-up question like, what age groups have you worked with before?
Ah, that makes sense. They'll want to know if you've had experience with kids their age.
Right. And think about how you adapted your approach based on the children's developmental needs.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, next question. How would you handle a child who's having a tantrum?
Oh, the dreaded tantrum. This is where you showcase your patience and understanding of child development.
So what are some good strategies for calming a child down?
Well, RoleCatcher's guide emphasizes the importance of positive reinforcement and clear communication, of course.
Can you explain what positive reinforcement means in this context?
Sure. It's about rewarding good behavior instead of just punishing bad behavior. So, for example, instead of yelling at a child for screaming, you could praise them for using their inside voice.
Ah, I see. So it's about shifting the focus to the positive.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher also advises against yelling or getting angry in the avoid section.
Right. It's important to stay calm and model appropriate behavior.
Definitely. Now, here is a potential follow-up question. Can you give me a specific example of a time you successfully managed a challenging behavior?
Oh, so they'll want to hear a real-life anecdote.
Exactly. Be prepared to share a story that showcases your problem-solving skills.
Okay, next question. How do you ensure the safety of the children under your care?
This one's crucial. You need to emphasize your commitment to creating a safe environment. Think about being vigilant, child-proofing the home, knowing basic first aid.
So like keeping a close eye on them at the playground, making sure they wear helmets while biking?
Exactly. Be prepared to discuss specific safety measures.
What if they ask, what would you do if a child was injured while under your care?
Oh, that's a good one. It's important to stay calm, assess the situation, administer first aid if necessary, and of course, contact the parents immediately.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about organization. The next question is, how do you manage your time effectively when taking care of multiple children?
This is your chance to show off your multitasking skills. Talk about creating a daily schedule, prioritizing tasks, maybe using a calendar to stay organized.
I bet those example profiles in RoleCatcher's Guide have some good tips on this. I mean, those au pairs are pros at managing multiple kids.
Yeah, it's always helpful to see how others have tackled this challenge.
So what if they ask, how would you handle a situation where two children need your attention at the same time?
Oh, that's a classic. Like, one kid needs help with homework while the other is having a meltdown over a broken toy.
Exactly. How do you prioritize?
Well, it's about staying calm, assessing the urgency of each situation, and addressing the most pressing need first.
Right. And maybe involve the children in finding a solution if possible.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It teaches them valuable life skills like patience and cooperation.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you tailor your answers to specific job roles.
Oh, right. You can input the job description into RoleCatcher's AI tool, and it'll analyze the keywords and skills they're looking for.
So you can make sure you're hitting all the right notes in your answers.
Exactly. It's like having a secret weapon for interview prep.
I love it. Okay, let's move on to a question that focuses on learning and development. This one says, how do you encourage children to learn and develop new skills?
This is where you really let your passion for child development shine through.
So talk about creating a fun and stimulating learning environment.
Right. Do you use educational games? Plan creative activities, encourage exploration and curiosity.
What about tailoring your approach to each child's individual learning style?
That's a great point. Some kids learn best through hands-on activities, while others thrive in a more structured environment.
It's all about being adaptable.
Exactly. Now, be ready for a follow-up question like, what are some activities you would plan to help a child develop their language skills?
So they might ask you to get specific about your approach to language learning.
Yeah, be prepared to mention things like reading aloud, singing songs, playing word games, even just incorporating language learning into everyday activities.
Wow, you've given me so much to think about.
I'm glad to hear that. This is what the deep dive is all about.
Now let's talk about cultural differences.
Yeah.
This question often comes up. How do you handle cultural differences when working with a family from a different background?
This one's all about demonstrating your cultural sensitivity and adaptability.
So emphasize your respect for different customs and traditions.
Right. And your willingness to learn and your open-mindedness.
Have you ever had any experiences with other cultures?
Oh, definitely. Through travel, friendships, even just learning about them.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide has a whole section on cultural exchange that's super helpful for navigating these differences.
Yeah, it's a great resource. Now, be ready for a follow-up question like, can you give me an example of a time you had to adapt to a different cultural practice?
So they'll want to hear a personal anecdote.
Exactly. This is your chance to share a story that showcases your flexibility and understanding.
Okay, let's move on to a question that addresses homesickness. This one says, how do you handle homesickness and culture shock when working in a foreign country?
This is about demonstrating your resilience and resourcefulness.
So talk about strategies for staying connected with loved ones back home.
Right. Maybe regular video calls, emails, letters, whatever works for you.
And it's important to be open to new experiences. Embrace the challenges of adapting to a new culture.
Definitely. What if I ask, what would you do if you were feeling overwhelmed by homesickness?
That's a tough one. It's important to have a plan in place for those moments when you might feel a bit lost or lonely.
Absolutely. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can also help you tailor your answers to this type of question by analyzing the family's profile.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The AI can suggest ways to highlight your adaptability and resilience based on their specific cultural background.
Exactly. It's like having a personalized guide for navigating the cultural nuances of the au pair experience.
That's brilliant. I'm really loving all these AI-powered tools. They're game changers.
They really are. And the best part is that they offer a free trial so you can try them out before you commit. Welcome back to our au pair deep dive. Last time we talked about a lot of general interview questions.
Yeah, but today I thought we could get into some more au pair specific stuff.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to cover some scenarios you might run into, and of course, how RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful in those situations.
Okay, let's jump in. Let's talk about food.
Ah, yes, food. A big part of keeping those little humans happy, right?
Exactly. So how would you answer this?
Mm.
How do you ensure the children under your care are well fed and have a balanced diet?
It's all about nutrition and meal planning, right?
Hmm.
You want to show that you can create healthy meals while being mindful of dietary restrictions or allergies.
Okay, and what if a kid just refuses to eat their veggies?
That's where the creativity comes in.
Yeah, because forcing them is never a good idea.
Right. Maybe you try incorporating the veggies into dishes they already love, like hiding spinach in smoothies or adding finely chopped veggies to pasta sauce.
Those are great ideas.
And get this, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze the family's profile and suggest meal ideas and recipes tailored to their needs.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. It's like having a personal chef assistant. Okay, let's talk about discipline. How would you answer? How do you encourage positive behavior in children?
This is all about positive reinforcement and guidance. Remember, it's not about punishment.
RoleCatcher's Guide mentions that a lot. Positive reinforcement. What are some good examples of that?
Okay, so instead of constantly saying no, you focus on praising good behavior, like, I love how nicely you're playing with your toys, that kind of thing.
Ah, I see. So you catch them being good.
Exactly. And you encourage that behavior. But of course, there will be times when you need to set clear boundaries and consequences.
Okay, so what if a child keeps pushing the limits?
You could try something like, if you keep throwing your toys, we'll have to put them away for a while. Just remember to be consistent and follow through.
That makes sense. Consistency is key with kids. All right, what about conflicts with the parents or other caregivers? That can be tricky.
Definitely. The question might be something like, how do you handle conflicts with the parents or other caregivers?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Because those relationships can be tough to navigate sometimes.
Totally. The key here is communication. You want to show that you can stay calm, respectful, and open-minded when disagreements happen.
So it's about finding solutions that work for everyone.
Exactly. It takes teamwork. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to resolve a conflict with a family?
Oh, all the time. But one that sticks out is this one time when I was working with a family and they had really different views on screen time for the kids. We ended up having a really open and honest conversation about our concerns and came up with a schedule that everyone could agree on.
That's a great example. It shows that you can handle tough situations with grace and diplomacy.
Okay, here's a question that always throws me off. What are your strengths and weaknesses as they relate to being an au pair? Like, how do you answer that without sounding cocky or unqualified?
That's a good question. When talking about your strengths, focus on the qualities that are most relevant to the au pair role, like patience, creativity, a genuine love for children, things like that.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about weaknesses? I never know what to say.
Choose something that you're genuinely working on improving, but explain how you're addressing it. Like, I tend to overschedule myself, but I'm learning to prioritize and delegate tasks.
So you spin it in a positive light.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI can be a big help with this question, too. It can suggest strengths and weaknesses that align with the specific family's needs.
That's right. The AI can analyze their profile and help you tailor your answers.
All right.
Let's shift gears and talk about cultural exchange.
Yes, because that's a huge part of being an au pair.
Exactly. A common question is, why are you interested in becoming an au pair in specific country?
This is your chance to show you've done your homework, talk about what genuinely interests you about the country's culture. Maybe mention a book or a movie that inspired you, or even a traditional dish you're eager to try.
So go beyond the typical touristy stuff.
Exactly. They want to see that you're truly interested in immersing yourself in their culture. And be ready for a follow-up question like, what do you hope to gain from this cultural exchange experience?
So talk about your personal goals. Maybe you want to learn a new language, connect with people from different backgrounds, or just broaden your horizons.
Right. And don't forget to mention how you can contribute to the exchange. What can you share with the family? Maybe you have a special skill or hobby you could teach them.
It's all about that two-way exchange of culture. All right, let's talk about discipline and boundaries, another tricky topic.
It is. You might get asked something like, how would you discipline a child who is misbehaving?
Okay, so how do you approach that?
It's important to emphasize positive discipline techniques, like redirecting behavior, using timeouts, having those calm conversations.
RoleCatcher's example profiles talk about this, right?
Yeah, they highlight au pairs who have implemented positive discipline strategies effectively. It's really inspiring to see how they create a supportive environment for the children.
Okay, so be ready for a follow-up like, what are your views on setting boundaries for children?
Exactly. This is where you talk about the importance of consistency, clear expectations, and age-appropriate limits. And remember, you'd always follow the family's established rules and routines.
Right. Okay, we've covered so much, but I just want to quickly touch on RoleCatcher's AI features again. I can't get over how helpful they are.
Yeah.
That AI can analyze the family's profile and suggest answers that are tailored to their specific needs.
It's amazing, right? It's like having your very own interview coach. And don't forget about their AI-powered video practice tool.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It analyzes your videos and gives feedback on things like eye contact and body language.
It's a fantastic way to refine your communication style and come across as confident and enthusiastic during the interview.
Which is super important. You want to make a good first impression.
Exactly. And remember, your personality and genuine love for children are just as important as your qualifications when it comes to being an au pair.
Well said. I'm really loving all these AI tools.
Me too. And the best part is that they offer a free trial, so you can see how they work before committing to a subscription.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've talked a lot about prepping for those au pair interviews.
You've learned how to answer tough questions and use those amazing AI tools from RoleCatcher.
Yeah, but now I want to shift gears a bit and focus on you. Finding the right family.
Ah, yes, the perfect match. Because remember, this interview isn't just about you proving yourself to the family.
Oh, that's right. It's a two-way street. We're interviewing them too.
Exactly. You need to figure out if their values and expectations align with yours, if their parenting style matches what you're comfortable with.
Okay, that makes sense. But what kinds of questions should we be asking them?
Anything that's important to you, don't be shy. Ask about their daily routine, their discipline approach, what they expect beyond childcare, what they like to do as a family.
So it's like getting a sneak peek into your potential life abroad.
Exactly. And pay attention to how they answer. Do they seem open and honest? Do their answers match what you're looking for?
This reminds me of those example profiles in RoleCatcher's Guide, the ones where au pairs talk about their experiences with different families.
Yeah, those are great for getting a sense of what a positive match can look like.
Okay, so we've got our questions ready, but what if we're still feeling nervous about the interview? Any tips?
First of all, take a deep breath. You've got this. You've prepared well, learned so much, and you're clearly passionate about working with children.
I like that. It's a good reminder.
Now, just focus on being yourself. Let your personality shine through. Families are looking for someone